Hello guys, welcome back to another stream. So today we have quite a lot to get through. We're going to be going through everything from what's going on in the markets right now through into why it is that, crypto institutions might not adopt crypto as quickly, and also who's going to be the biggest winner of the Ethereum merge. Surprisingly, it might not be Ethereum. So let's have a look at that. And also, finally, we're going to touch on Huobi and why the founder might be selling some of his, well, I say some, most of his stake in the company. As always, if you haven't already, make sure you hit the bell notification on the YouTube and subscribe to the channel for daily updates and quite a good laugh, I'd say.
Yeah.
And I always have fun, don't you?
yeah, I do myself.
There you go. Okay, so I'm going to get, kind of jump straight into it here with, no hoo-ha-ing about. We've got quite a lot to cover off, as I mentioned. So just looking today, so stock futures are on the rise as fears about inflation abate, which kind of just means goes away. So we're looking at Fed says there's more work to do to curb high inflation. This, and, I think this is actually a pretty good thing. We have seen, if we have a look at just Bloomberg, on go away. We basically have seen that the market it's doing okay. It's not doing great, currently down a little bit, but overall we are going to see, I think, a little bit of a spike in the short term, and then we're going to have a nice little push, like a nice push and then a slight pullback because, well, we're going to have the end of the week and everyone's going to start selling. Me and AJ, we were mentioning this, that we kind of noticed this trend, don't we? Everyone's kind of begins to sell towards the end of the week.
Yeah, exactly. As you said, people don't want to be in their trades over the weekend. So when they're walking away from their desks on the Friday, they do tend to close a lot of their trades.
Internet dropped out there. Sorry, guys. But we are back. So we kind of see, people taking profit towards the end. Looking towards Bank of America says cash racing to stocks and bonds as inflation fears ease. This kind of gives me a little bit of, faith that we might actually begin to see that, or might have seen already, the bottom of the
I'm not sure if that's Ben's Wi-Fi or my Wi-Fi. I think it might be Ben's Wi-Fi that's playing up today. Ben, are you there?
Yep.
Yeah. I think your Wi-Fi is lagging a little bit. Yeah, I can hear you now.
Yeah, bring up the fear and greed index. Let's see what we're kind of looking at. So obviously the traditional markets giving us a nice little, how should we say, pump?
Yeah. So fear and greed index is currently sat at 42, which is great considering last month we were sitting at extreme fear, sitting at 15 on the fear and greed index. So, it's looking good on the fear and greed index, but obviously we sort of have to take this into account with the charts as well, and what the charts are telling us. So, we'll look at the charts as well a little bit later on.
Yeah, absolutely. So just to bring this back on to some more of the traditional markets, or, maybe not so much just the traditional markets, but looking into this, we can't really talk about a live stream without Dutch police allegedly arresting Tornado Cash developer. More arrests not ruled out, apparently. So, and I'm not going to go into too much detail, but he was hiding in Amsterdam and finally got caught, the 29-year-old man in Amsterdam. So it's going to be interesting to see how this plays out, and also whether he, kind of flips on maybe some other developers that were involved. And you can go through and kind of find out. But basically, US Treasury Department on Monday added Tornado Cash, along with a load of others, to its specially designated nationals list. Effectively bans Americans using the tool and transactions with the noted addresses. Now, I want to move into a bit of institutional news. So 3/4 of institutionals to use crypto in the 3 years. So this is from Ripple. So Ripple's new value report on enterprise, crypto and blockchain insights, NFT blockchain and CBDC utility in business settings. Like one thing I think Ripple is kind of underrated for is doing some of these services. So, coming out with these reports and being able to, I guess, maybe just facilitate different ways in which we see cryptos being used, blockchain being used. I've always said it, AJ. I'm sure you'll probably tell me something similar. That the way that we're going to see mass adoption is through these big companies.
Yeah, most definitely, and these big companies accepting payments as well, crypto payments. That's another big thing. If people can actually use crypto to buy things, for example, when Tesla lets you buy a Tesla with Bitcoin, that's what we want to see with these big institutions, allowing those crypto payments to be transacted and to be put through.
Yeah, exactly. So, and I think more of this push towards the acceptance by institutions of different crypto payments and different crypto systems, I think is going to be really, really good. And I've mentioned about EY in the past. But he did note that adoption is still an uphill battle for large institutions. According to the report, enterprises and financial institutions both find that a general lack of understanding is one of the biggest challenges. So I think maybe at the moment, education is probably going to be the biggest issue that this space kind of goes through. It is tough. And also, the people who are making the laws have no idea. These guys in Congress, I don't know what you guys who are watching, okay, let's say this little thought experiment. Anyone who's watching, comment below or comment, in the side, in the chat, whatever it is. How would you implement blockchain solutions? What would be the first thing that you would do? Would it be education? Would it be going through and just saying, okay, everyone has to accept Bitcoin? If you were the president, let's say, of the US, and forget the whole he doesn't fully control Congress and the Senate and stuff. I don't really know how that works. But let's say you're the number one person who's making all of the rules. What would you do? AJ, what would you come up with?
I don't even know where to start with that. Personally, I don't even know where to start with that. There's too many things.
I'd probably start with I'd probably go down the line of, for mass adoption, I would probably cut capital gains tax from it. I'd find a way for it to be regulated. I'd make sure it's regulated in a way where, if something happens, it can be, let's say, not backed, but it can, how if a bank gets maybe insured, I don't know. I'd say it needs to be regulated, but in a good way, a sensible way. But obviously, as a crypto guy, you find a way around that. Also reduce the capital gains tax on it as well, because then people can actually use it. A dollar doesn't have capital gains tax, so you're never really going to be able to use massive transactions with a coin that is going to be taxed. And I think that's probably one of the biggest issues that I would go for. Quickly jump in here, see if there's anybody. Not yet. Make sure you drop that in there. And so next, I want to kind of jump into why some people think that Ethereum might not be the winner from the. This is one thing, actually. Me and you were talking about this offline, weren't we, AJ?
Yeah.
Where if you look at Ethereum, obviously it's going to go through to a proof of stake, but miners want to have an Ethereum fork where it's proof of work. And so, looking at Ethereum Classic, for example, that's rallied quite heavily. I mean, it's 8% almost, well, 7%, over 7% in the past 24 hours. And that's because this works on a proof of work model. So if you're a miner and Ethereum becomes proof of stake, what are you going to do? You're probably going to be putting, to put your mining rig to use, you're going to be, putting into Ethereum Classic. And that's a bit insane, isn't it? Past 30 days, 200%.
Yeah, wow. So it's going to bring a lot of people back into Ethereum Classic, I think. So we'll watch out for that.
I think a lot of volume. Let's have a look at Ethereum, or let's move into some technicals, and then at the end, I'm going to come back and kind of talk about Huobi, and I guess some speculation around money troubles in Huobi, but we'll do that after we do some technical analysis. Let's jump into this today.
Sorry, my Wi-Fi just cut out there. I don't know what's going on with the Wi-Fi today, but yeah, we're going to take a look at some technical analysis now, and what we are seeing in the charts as of right now. This is the Bitcoin 4-hour chart. We are seeing a bearish divergence, which has in fact already played out, and we are seeing the price have a pullback from the highs that it reached, almost 25k. Just a few dollars off 25k. So yeah, we are having that initial pullback, and I did anticipate that we were going to have this pullback because there was this bearish divergence that was in play. And looking at sort of the bigger time frames, looking at the 8-hour, we were coming into resistance. So looking at this 8-hour chart, we can see that this yellow horizontal line here at $24,600 is a resistance level, and we are getting a rejection from that level. And if we do ignore this horizontal level as well, we can see on the 8-hour that we are forming this rising wedge pattern, which is technically a bearish pattern. We did come and test the resistance up at the top of the rising wedge, and we are getting a rejection, mainly because of this bearish divergence on that 4-hour. And the same thing on the 12-hour. We are forming this rising wedge pattern, but we also do have a bearish divergence, a much bigger bearish divergence on the 12-hour chart as well. So what we can see here is we can see price action towards the upsides. We're seeing higher highs on the price action chart, and then on the RSI, we are seeing momentum towards the downside, which is a textbook bearish divergence. Now, because this is a bigger bearish divergence than what's on the 4-hour and what's on the 8-hour, I think there's a smaller bearish divergence on here as well. As you can see on the RSI, we are having slight momentum towards the downside and price action towards the upside, which is why we are having this pullback. And I do anticipate that we are going to have a pullback back down to this yellow supports level here. And now, because it is a rising wedge, it is a bearish pattern technically. Now, it doesn't mean that we are going to break towards the downside, but it means that the probability of breaking towards the downside is much higher than the probability of breaking towards the upside. So looking at this bigger bearish divergence, it is signaling to me that we could most likely get a break towards the downside and see a much bigger correction. However, it is very strong support, this yellow line, this yellow bottom trending line here. So we can use that as very strong support, and it could hold the price up. If we can hold the price at this yellow line here, then we could come and test the resistance. But what I'm looking at right now is this support level here, this blue area of support. Now, previously, it's been major resistance, and we have seen 4 rejections from this level. And we did, in fact, break above this level as of yesterday. Now, we are having a pullback as of today, back down to this support level, and the price is currently testing the very bottom of the support level. Now, if we do break the support here, then this will be a fake out, and we will most likely come down to the support at this yellow line here. And then it's the case of whether we are going to break towards the downside or hold that as support. Looking at the indicators, they are pretty neutral, sitting around that 50 area on the stochastic and the stochastic RSI. So we could go either way. We could come down, test this support level and break towards the downside. If we were to break towards the downside, then the first take profit that I would be looking at is around 21,000, and then the second TP would be around $19,400 approximately. It would be a good short position. Looking at the RSI, again, we do have that bearish divergence, so this could be sort of that catalytic indicator that brings us down to those lower levels at 21,000 and 19,000. So we do just have to be very aware of that. A lot of bearish indicators coming in, and we've had this CPI data which did manage to hold us up from the previous bearish signals that we did have, and we did see a nice pump. But unfortunately, there's nothing really that is coming out in the short term future that could hold this price up. So there is a possibility that we could break towards the downside and come back to these lows of 21,000, maybe even all the way down to 19,000 as well.
No, don't say that.
yeah, I don't want to say it, but it is a possibility. And again, looking on the daily chart as well, we are getting a bearish divergence as well. So that could be it's not confirmed yet. So that is the sort of good thing that I can bring you. It's not confirmed, but we are getting slight price action towards the upside and then momentum towards the downside on that RSI.
Just give us a quick put your mouse over the lower band, the white line here that we're seeing, moving the upward channel. So let's say we were to drop it, it would take a couple of days. That kind of, so a lower on the larger time frame, we're kind of looking at that 21,800. Is that type of level?
Yeah,
if we were to fall down and touch that.
21,800 would be the target. Obviously, the targets from this rising wedge are 21,000 and $19,400 approximately. But because this is on the 12-hour, it could be a quick wick down, and then we could find major support along the support level. But we do have to be aware this is a bearish flag. Bearish flags do tend to break towards the downside. We've seen it here, and we've had another leg down. So if we were to come down and test this support level here, and we did break towards the downside, then that would be incredibly bearish for the whole crypto market. So we do just have to be very, very aware of that. And if you are thinking about buying, I would think about dollar cost averaging rather than putting all your money in as of right now, because we do have these bearish signals, obviously.
Yeah. There you go. And also, let's have a quick look at Ethereum. Or are we on? Yeah. Let's have a quick look at Ethereum, see what that's doing. Because, like I said, it does seem as though we are going to have a lot of institutional buyers come in when the merge is actually done, because that's when confidence will be at its highest. Everyone's going to be like, okay, now some of the issues are being resolved. Like I said, we will see a lot of miners now just be like, what the heck? Their mining rigs will become pretty much useless. They can take their Ethereum and start up their own nodes, etc., for staking, but we might see some pumps from other coins. But there's been so much hype, hasn't there, AJ?
There has, yeah.
Do you see this kind of slowing down from a technical standpoint?
I do. Looking at this chart, what we can see again is a textbook rising wedge pattern. And if we do bring up the volume, let me just have a look at the volume. Exactly what I thought. So what we are seeing in the volume chart as well, we're seeing this in Bitcoin as well. We are seeing the volume decrease ever so slightly on Ethereum. It's a bit more visible if we take a quick look at Bitcoin again. It's a bit more visible on Bitcoin. We are seeing more volume towards the downside, and this indicates to us a loss of steam. The bulls are losing steam, and that just sort of gives me more confidence that the likelihood of it is that we are going to break towards the downside. Now, obviously, there is a lot of support coming in for Ethereum. We do have, obviously, the support at the bottom of the rising wedge, and we do have this blue support level here as well, which has acted as major support when we were above it, and also slight resistance when we were below it. We have broken above it. We are above it as of right now, so it is going to act as support if we were to come down and test it. But again, it is a rising wedge pattern. If Bitcoin does break towards the downside of its rising wedge pattern, the likelihood of it, Ethereum is also going to break towards the downside of its rising wedge pattern as well. We are seeing a bearish divergence on Ethereum as well on this 12-hour chart. So we're getting price action towards the upside, those higher highs. And on the RSI, we are getting those lower lows, the momentum towards the downside. This is another indication that we are seeing a loss of steam with the bulls. And obviously, the volume is telling us that as well, because we are seeing a decrease in these spikes in volume. It is looking fairly bearish at the moment, but obviously if we can hold these support levels and we can get a nice bounce off these support levels, then that will be incredibly good for Bitcoin and incredibly good for Ethereum. So what I am waiting for now is, I'm sitting on the sidelines and I'm just waiting to see the price coming down to these support levels, because I do anticipate the price coming down to these support levels, because we're seeing decrease in volume. That signals loss of steam for the bulls, and we also are seeing these bearish divergence. That also signals a loss of steam for the bulls. So yeah, I do think we're going to come down to these support levels. So just be aware of that. If you are thinking about buying, if you are thinking about longing, just be aware that we are getting these bearish signals. And yeah, I will keep you updated when we do get down to these support levels, because that is what I anticipate.
There we go. So I'm just do you want to bring us through a little, like a slightly different time frame on these Ethereum, or
well, I just wanted to have a quick look at the dominance, because the dominance is continuing to drop. This is good for altcoins. This is good for Ethereum. And we are getting ever so close to that target that I've given you. This was a few weeks ago now, over 2 months ago, I think it was. And I did tell you that if we did see a rejection from this resistance up here, that we were most likely going to come down and test this support. And we are this support at around 40%. And we are ever so close. And we are getting ever so close to that support level. Now, I've told you, if we do break this support level, we are most likely going to have a massive altcoin season. But I don't anticipate this move towards this support level is going to break. I do think we will bounce before seeing a potential break. But initially in the future, I do think we are going to break this support level. If we do break this support level, there's going to be a massive altcoin season. And I've said it before, if we do see that, I will shift the majority of my Bitcoin into altcoins. Just taking a little bit of a gamble and seeing if I can, increase those returns, because the likelihood of it is that if we do break the support, there will be that massive altcoin season, and we will see Ethereum outperform Bitcoin, like we are already seeing that happen. And this chart shows that perfectly.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. And that is then the time where everybody who's been going through or asking us to do, analysis on certain coins, this is where those coins will start to really, really pop off, because, obviously everyone's going to start looking for some return somewhere, and it's not going to be from Bitcoin. I mean, but I don't want, when I say that, I don't want anyone to think that, Bitcoin won't perform. It will absolutely perform, but it's just a question of, if Ethereum goes up 2x, and Bitcoin only goes up like, I don't know, 1.5, that's where you want to be in Ethereum.
Yeah, exactly. You want to get the most returns, obviously. So, and the way to do that is with these altcoins.
But a little cautionary tale, though, is that the further down you go in terms of the market cap, the higher your returns will be, but also the more risk you are taking on. Hence why institutions who are kind of putting their toes in the water will be going to the Bitcoin and the Ethereums of the world, where a bit of money, it will pump the price, but that same amount of money in something like, a market cap of, I don't know, only, let's say, a couple 100 million, that would probably 10x the price, but that same money would have a much smaller effect on a bigger pond.
Yeah, definitely. I just want to show the DXY chart quickly, because this could signal some more bearish price action and correlate with these bearish signals that we are seeing on the Bitcoin and the Ethereum chart. What we tend to see when the DXY goes up, we see the price of crypto come down, the price of traditional markets, the price of risk assets come down. But when we see the DXY come down, we do tend to see a pump in these sort of risk assets, so crypto and traditional markets. But what we are seeing right now is that the DXY is, in fact, if I zoom in a little bit, the DXY is, in fact, finding some nice support on this daily support level. As you can see right here, this is the 8-hour chart, but this green line here is a daily support level. And what we are looking at here is a falling channel. Now, a falling channel is actually a bullish pattern. So if we were to break towards the upside of this falling channel, the likelihood of it is we are looking at targets at sort of 107 approximately, and then all the way up at $109 approximately, all the way up here. So we do just have to be aware of that. And this could be what brings crypto down, what brings Bitcoin and Ethereum to break that rising wedge. If we do break towards the upside here and we do see the DXY pump, then we will most likely see Bitcoin and Ethereum break towards the downside of their rising wedges and come lower. Testing 21,000 on Bitcoin and testing 19,400 on Bitcoin, and testing those lower prices on Ethereum as well. So we do just have to be aware of this chart as well. We know that the DXY and Bitcoin is very correlated. So when DXY goes up, Bitcoin goes down. Bitcoin goes up, we see the DXY come down. So yeah, we just have to be very aware of this chart as well.
There we go. There we go. A couple of questions here. I've seen any micro alt caps you have in mind for the next cycle. Do you know what? There were some good ones mentioned yesterday.
Yeah.
Did you? So for some of that analysis, we continuously put out like a series of videos. Did you do one yesterday?
Yes, I did. So I did, some on the cryptos that I'm personally going to be investing in this bear market, and holding them throughout the next bull market whenever that bull market starts. Big ones that I'm in: AVAX, Near Protocol, Theta, Rose. You're a big Rose fan, aren't you, Ben?
Yeah.
So,
but the best thing to do here, Links, for this question here, just so everybody can see it, is to go and watch that video that AJ posted yesterday. Do you remember the title of it, AJ? Just so people can find it. I know it was just the most recent video that we did.
Yeah, it was the one before. I can't remember what the title was.
Yeah,
but yeah,
but
it was the
anyways,
most
it's like
recent
analyzing coins. So that would be the best thing to
altcoin
do.
analysis. I think that's what it was called.
Altcoin analysis, and then also you can find out exactly why it is that we like those and some of the technical levels. If you are looking to trade these, you might be able to catch a nice little breakout quite well there. Always knew so many bad news right now. I think Bitcoin will dump to test 21 or 19K. Yeah, I think you're probably not too wrong there. We have seen a massive push up, and although inflation looks to be coming down, that's kind of the only justifying factor. So I think
just not seeing the volume that we would like to see. We're seeing a decrease in volume, and this signals, because we are technically going up as of right now. We are seeing the price come up, and seeing a loss of volume when the price is coming up is showing that the bulls are running out of steam. The bulls are sort of coming to the end of their run, the end of their push. And then this is where the bears tend to step in when we are seeing these decreases in volume, and they tend to push the price down. And that's exactly what I think is going to happen. And that's why I think Bitcoin in the short-term future is going to come down to 21,000 and even 19,000. And, there are well-respected people on Twitter. So there's Il Capo, who's a very well-respected chartist on Twitter. He is thinking that we are going to drop even below $17,500. And his price target was that we were going to come to around 25,000, get a rejection from that level, which is exactly what we are seeing. So as of right now, his sort of his analysis is playing out, and it sort of lines up with my analysis as well. I do think we are going to see this pullback. It looks like we are going to see this pullback looking at the technical indicators, unless we can have something fundamental that pushes the price up and brings that volume back into the crypto market, back into Bitcoin. Then I don't see the price coming up unless we do see a nice sort of bullish fundamental event to happen.
Yeah, and there's not really anything coming up next week. Tomorrow I'll go through and release a video just as to what to expect, but there's not really any major fundamental news. So unless we see an institution or a government or something like this, implement blockchain or a certain crypto in a major way, I don't think we're really going to see too much. So I think that will have the indicators resetting.
Definitely.
Yeah,
and
I'm just
talking about
finish up. Oh, go on.
I was just going to say, talk about indicators resetting. Chainlink is something that I'm looking at trading ever so. Maybe tomorrow, maybe tonight, maybe tomorrow. I'm looking at a nice big trade on Chainlink, because what we are seeing is that we are coming into major resistance on Chainlink at this yellow horizontal line here. We are breaking above it as of right now, but I do anticipate that we are going to get rejection from this level, because looking at the indicators, RSI, stochastic RSI, we're in that very, very oversold region. And we also are seeing on the volume chart here, we are seeing a massive decrease in volume. So the bulls are losing steam. So I do anticipate that we are going to get rejection. This is the daily chart. So we do still have 11 hours and 16 minutes left of this daily candle. So there is chance we could break above it. There is chance we could get a big rejection from it. If we do get a rejection from it, I will be opening a short on Chainlink, because again, indicators are very, very oversold, very overextended, very overbought. And we are seeing that loss of volume, the bulls are losing steam. So I do anticipate we are going to see a pullback. And my target for this is around the $7.2 level. So I'm going to open up a short once we do get that confirmed rejection from this level here, around $9 I predict it to be, and I'm gonna hopefully ride that short out all the way down to this sort of $7.2 level, where we do have pretty major support. So that's why I'm going to be taking profit there. So I will keep you updated with this over on Twitter. Make sure you head over to our Twitter account if you don't follow us over on Twitter already, and yeah, look out for that on Twitter.
There you go. I'm just going to finish up here, guys. So I know I mentioned about Huobi. You guys have probably seen it knocking about online. So he's going to sell his stake for over $1 billion, but everyone's wondering like how much is it worth? And then you see, a $3 billion sell deal. What is going on? Just wanted to give you a little bit of clarity. When you see $3 billion, you see $1 billion, like what is happening? So Huobi founder, he is looking, his name is Leon Lee, looking to sell 60% of his company, which is Huobi, for around about $1 billion, or over $1 billion. But this is going to be if it's valued between $2 to $3 billion, the whole company. So 60% of that probably be, I don't know, if it's valued at 2 billion, obviously 60% is going to be like 1.2 or something. And so, you can kind of, it will scale up as the valuation goes up. It depends on the person who's going to buy it, how much they think it's worth. But bottom line, this is actually an article that came out in July 2nd. So this is not news. I don't think everybody should be majorly panicking. And this is, just to kind of make it clear, he's not suddenly thinking, hey, everything's going down the toilet, but he might be involved in kind of knowing some information, but before everybody else does, of some of the troubles that's happened ever since things like Luna went down, and then we saw 3 hours capital, Celsius. I could go on, but I'm not going to. And also another massive ban was that on June 28th, the exchange now announced to ban all Chinese users. So last year they said, oh yeah, we'll ban all the Chinese users. So they've lost a massive amount of revenue. And FTX founder Sam Bankman-Fried says that companies are quietly defaulting on their debt. Now, the question then becomes, well, who's going to be buying this? We can have our favorite Justin Sun, Mr. I don't trust him. That's just me personally. AJ, you've heard me talk about. I don't like him. I don't know why.
No.
I'm sure he's a very good guy, but I don't like him. I don't trust his stable coin. I don't trust how much it's backed by. I don't know. I don't know. I have my suspicions. But anyway, so he's here being like, yeah, I'll buy some. Give me. Also, Sam Bankman-Fried is in conversations. Just to kind of recap this, I have been through it. So Leon Lee says that he hopes that the new shareholders will be more powerful and resourceful, and that will help Huobi brand and invest more capital and energy to drive the growth of Huobi. I take from this 3 different things. Either he has no money and he can't invest in, probably just buying his own lunch. So needs to, he can't invest anything into it. And obviously he just wants to be paid. Or he's kind of lost steam because he doesn't have any energy to drive the growth. or there's something going on internally and he's trying to get out while he can and just use the excuse that he kind of fancies, paying up. But given everything that's happened at the moment, it's I don't know. I don't know whether it's a very bad time to sell given all the fear that's in the market and knowing how many exchanges of, block transactions, etc., and hidden funds and, withdrawn or stopped people withdrawing them. So it's a very bad time, in my opinion. I think had he waited for a while, he probably would have got a lot more money for it. But then
but that brings you back to the point: does he know something that no one does?
Exactly, and that is it. You'd think now you'd be like, well, why sell now? Like, well, there's this saying. I know it's like some BS motivation thing. Like, if you're in hell, why would you stop? But like, if like company valuations are at their lowest, why are you selling? You own the thing. It's not like, it's not like, oh, I'm going to get fired. Like, you own it. Like, just hold it. You've held it since 2013. It's like 9 years now. Like, just wait for 6 months. Let the price of Bitcoin and your balance sheet to go up and then sell it for like 5 billion valuation. And another thing that's weird is like they have recently just got a digital currency like they're basically registered in Australia. So it might be that after this news, he's like, okay, I finally got a win. This is going to push the valuation up, from let's say 1.5 billion up to 2.5, because we can now sell into Australia. It might be that. But again, this came out in July, so he's wanted to sell for ages. I just don't quite know. But looking through, it has gone down massively. I don't know if you remember when you first got into crypto, AJ. Before it was always like Binance was up here, Kraken has kind of always been there, but Huobi used to be, I think back in the day, used to be like a top 3 exchange.
I think it did. Yeah, you are right.
How the mighty have fallen.
Yeah.
They've still got over $1 billion volume, per day. So, it is still good, but I guess this is just loads of question, and I've looked on Twitter, the general sentiment is everyone's like, well, look, all right, I'm taking my money out then. Jesus. Like when a captain tries to jump ship at the worst possible moment, that's when alarm bells start ringing. So I don't know, guys, do any of you trade with Huobi? Are you worried? Personally, I don't, but it would make me question. Like if CZ now said, "Oh yeah, I'm going to sell over 60%," and also most importantly, controlling interest. Anything over 51% means the person who has that controls it. So he's given up his control, and also over 60% of his whole of the company. It just seems a bit. I don't know. It seems like a really bad time to me, which makes me question whether there is something wider wrong. And the general sentiment on Twitter or on social, if you guys have a look, you're going to see it. It's everyone's like, right, well, great, another one's going to go bust. This guy's trying to get out early. That's what people are saying. But I don't know. Like I said, ever since July, he has been trying to get out. So, either he saw in the future and there was big problems, or he just genuinely has had enough. Maybe he can't pay his rent. I don't know. Wouldn't imagine it though. Like an OG exchange owner not being able to I don't know. I feel like he must have money, no?
Yeah, he must have a lot of cash.
Well, exactly. He was probably buying Bitcoin, back at the prices in 2013.
Yeah.
So you don't own an exchange and not buy Bitcoin.
Exactly.
So I don't know. But anyway, something fishy potentially going on inside Huobi. Follow us for more. Obviously, follow us on the Twitter and on the YouTube. And we will see you tomorrow. So tomorrow is going to be a full recap. What happened this week? What is going to happen next week? So make sure you follow it. Hit the bell notification, and we will tell you how. What are the key opportunities we're watching. AJ, we're going to see a full list, aren't we? Of the best coins that might be about to break out.
Yeah. Well, pull back, I would say right now, rather than break out. But we will see. We will see.
A pullback should lead to a breakout.
Yeah.
Should. Let's say should.
Should.
Cross our fingers.
Yeah. So yeah, thank you very much for watching, and make sure you smash that like button as well. It does help us out a lot. And yeah, we will see you tomorrow for tomorrow's stream.
Have a good day, guys. See you.